So when you've finished papering, and that doesn't mean all of it, it means when you've finished papering for the day, there's a few things you need to do. If you just take a look at the floor, you'll see that I've got no bits on the floor because I've been using the bin as I've been going, and if I've been up on my steps, I've thrown stuff in a corner, so it's just easily scooped up. One of your criteria on your in your portfolio is to keep your area tidy while you're working, and this is a health and safety thing, so make sure it's tidy. So work tidily is the first thing. When it comes to finishing, you've got a few things to think about. You've been using your shears, okay, the bound off paste on. So I've even got some clean water here. So just make sure you give them a really good wash. Obviously, when you take them back to the stores, they need to be clean, because if you're going back to Gary and they're not clean and they're closed and they're put away, what will happen is, just dry them, what will happen is they'll just stick together with the adhesive. Okay, so make sure they're nice and dry and clean. Your smoothing brush, now the odd time you will have a little bit of adhesive on. I don't want you washing these, okay? They'll be all washed together periodically, we'll do that. But you should not really have much on if you've applied it correctly. So that's quite dry. I've got a tiny little bit on that corner. Your paste table, I'm going to take away these tools. Your paste table, before it goes away, no matter how careful you've been, you'll have got little bits of paste on. So this needs a really good wash, okay? Now when you're washing your paste table, you're going right the way around the edges, because paste generally will gather here. Now this one's quite clean. I could fill the odd little bit, and if I don't take it off, that's just going to build up and build up. So, and then the full face of the table. If it feels slimy, it means it needs a better wash. Okay, it shouldn't feel slimy, it should just feel like it's been washed. Alright, so your paste table then can, if you're going to be papering the next day especially, you can leave your paste table inside your cubicle. All lining paper needs to go back to the stores, okay? All the lining paper will go in there along with all your tools. So what we're going to do now is, I had a spare bucket here. I'm going to collect all my tools, everything I've had, have a good look around, and also check in your pockets, because quite often people leave things in pockets. Check around, no pencils, no tools. Your sponge, really good squeeze out. Right, that can go in there. And then what you need to do is you need to take this water and this to the prep room. So if you come with me, we've got this water with a little bit of paste in. That can just go straight down the sink. It can be rinsed away. Okay. Your bucket might have become a little bit slimy. So give it just a quick wash. Top edge. Like that. Now if you didn't have a spare bucket like I have, all your tools can then go in there. Now your adhesive, what you need to do with that is the stick that you've been using, need to clean it, and that's just cleaning under this water. Make sure it's clean before it goes back, because you know we use these sticks in paint as well, don't we? So we don't want to have adhesive in our paint. Up there, ready for whatever else it needs. Now over here, because we quite often have excess paste and we don't want to waste it, we have this area here. It says, caution, wallpaper paste can cause slippery surfaces. If you get it round here, you're going to slip. And this is for leftover paste. No empty buckets, as you can see, no empty buckets to be left here, just paste. So this paste here in this bucket is going to go in this tub. What that does is that allows somebody else to use it and not have to keep mixing paste. So this all goes into it, just like you wiping out a paint kettle, just the same. Remember that paste contains fungicide. So when we finish using adhesive, when we go off the brakes or anything like that, make sure you're washing your hands. You don't want to be having a fungicide because it will give you an upset stomach. Okay, so just like that. So strain as much out as you can, just like you would do paint. And then the lid wants to be nice and tight on. If the air doesn't get to it, that should be okay for a week. Any longer than a week, it doesn't really last. So then, the only two things you've got left to clean out now is your paste brush and your bucket. So this is exactly the same as when you're washing paint out. You're washing the handle, you're washing the ferrule, you're washing the bristles. Put that there, and you're also washing the bucket. We might get one of these buckets out and start doing a bit of wet drying, so you don't want to paste the bucket. All buckets have to be clean when you take a bath. And as long as you've left this paste out overnight, this cleans up really easily. If you leave it overnight, it goes a bit dry. So if you put it back at the end of the day, you'll be absolutely fine. Like that. Another dunk in there. Check the bristles, check they're not pasty. Give them a good shake out. When you take stuff back to the stores, it doesn't want to be full of water, because if we store stuff containing water, it's damp. So it's just gone mouldy. So, bucket, smoothing paste brush. And what I'm going to go do now is we'll go and collect the rest of our tools, and then this is how you should leave your area once you've finished. Another thing is, if you've got any paste on the floor by mistake, make sure that's cleaned up. Sometimes it happens around here where you've had your paste bucket. Okay, so hop-ups can just go where they always go. If you've had any spare hop-ups or any scaffold boards out, they want to go back over near the staircase. And then all this ready to go back to the stores. Perfect.